the thing with me, it's a case of with this situation. Yeah, some say it's a delicate situation, which in part it is, but I think Suarez is being a prat about it and he's going the wrong way. The fact of the matter is this: Luis Suarez. Boy, you can see I have the liver bird upon my chest. I love my team, and my allegiance is to my team, not you. The fact of the matter is, I'd love to ask for loyalty from players, but see last week's show about loyal players. Are they a dying breed? See last week's show, and there's a Pitch Talk. I think it's a Pitch Talk Rant of the week. Loyal players, are they a dying breed? And yes, they are. And you know what? Gordon Taylor likes to pick his spots when he likes to talk about stuff. Oh yeah, football's losing its soul. We need to show that it's not all about money. Yeah, football's pretty much become all about money. Most of men's football has pretty much become all about the money. It's all about the money. If you got the money, honey, then these teams have got the time. But you know what? For me, the fact of the matter is this: Suarez, you can say all you want. Oh, I want to play for Real Madrid. Yeah, you didn't put a time frame on that quote, so it wasn't saying, oh yeah, this year, that year. You just said, oh, I'd love to play for Real Madrid. Fine, I can live with that. I can live with that. If a team the English media, my family are suffering, I'm suffering, I don't like the way the English media are treating me. I can live with that. I can live with that comment. But the fact that Arsenal showed an interest, and now you're potentially looking to move to them after whinging, saying that the English media are treating you badly and your family are suffering, but you're willing to move to another English club. Okay, that makes a hell of a lot of sense, because there also was one quote from Suarez in the week that said, it's not that I want to move or that I'm desperate to move, but I want the club to keep their word. Mate, this dude is more confused than Scooby-Doo. I've said before that Suarez is not playing with a full deck. And for me, this dude sounds very, very confused. Either that, or he's getting horrendous advice from Pere Guardiola, his agent. It's one of them ones. No, not the Bayern Munich manager, for any morons who think that some paper made that mistake and you look like morons for it. But at the end of the day, it's a case of Suarez, listen to me, sir. If you to quote, I'm gonna paraphrase The Rock from 2002 when Steve Austin walked out on the WWE. It's a case of, if you don't want to play for Liverpool, be a man about it and say so. Take your ball. You can take your ball and go home. Because if you don't want to play for us, there's millions of other players, thousands of other people who would love to play for our great club. After all, we backed you to the hilt. We backed you to the hilt. We got criticised for it. We got lambasted for it. And you, in the space of a few weeks, want to turn tail, want to go Benedict Arnold turncoat and start saying, oh, I want to go. You know what? Suarez, if you want to go, the door is that way. You want to try and make it look like the club are being the bad guys in this situation? Nah, that don't fly with me. Liverpool, mate, for a player of his quality, I can understand why Liverpool want to keep him. Why not fight tooth and nail for your best player? Arsenal didn't want to sell Van Persie, but then the offer came in and they couldn't really refuse it because he wanted to go. Similar sort of situation with Suarez, but for one difference. Suarez is trying to play it off like the club are in the wrong for trying to keep a quality player, because we're trying to move on. We're trying to move onwards and upwards, not sell players to teams who we're trying to overtake to get to fourth place and back in the Champions League. You see where I'm going with this, Suarez? See where I'm going with this? But even more so, It's quite a simple situation. To Luis Suarez, it's quite a simple situation. If you want to leave, hand in a transfer request. If you want to leave any club, you hand in a transfer request. Oh, what? Are you worried about losing your signing on bonus? Are you worried about, looking like the bad guy? Because if you're worried about looking like the bad guy, sorry, mate, that ship sailed a year and a half ago. You're already a bad guy in most people's minds. The English media don't like you, clearly, but you haven't helped with that at all. And now you're burning bridges. Bridge up over the River Kwai, straight up. You are burning bridges. And boy, it's a case of, if you don't want to apologise, if Arsenal don't want to come and make a bid that we feel is acceptable, then you might end up rotting in the reserves if you don't apologise. And the fact of the matter is, we've backed you. We looked past your foibles. We looked past your bad points because you're such a talented player. And now you want to go turncoat after saying the English media are basically persecuting you and it's a witch hunt and all that. You now want to go to another English club just because you want Champions League football. I can understand you wanting Champions League football, but the English media are not good. They're going to have even more of a field day if you move to Arsenal. And by the way, to some of the moronic Arsenal fans that I've spoken to in recent weeks, some of them have spoken a lot of sense, like the Gman, Marvin Shannon-Burke, Chris Rodriguez at times. But it's one of them was, at the end of the day, those thinking that Arsene Wenger is going to change Luis Suarez. I don't know what you're smoking, but you're either smoking or joking. That kind of player ain't changing for no one. Because if this guy wants to talk about, my family is suffering. If your family is suffering and you feel the English media has treated you so badly, why not keep a low profile? Why try and bite? Why after all the lambasting you've had from the media for diving and for being apparently racist, why would you then turn your back on those who have supported you through thick and thin? And also, if you want to talk about your family suffering, why are you setting such a bad example for your daughter? Let me I want you to think about that. Luis Suarez, if you're listening, if you're watching via youtube.com/Pitch Talk or listening to this on the podcast via iTunes, Mixcloud, Spreaker or Podomatic, I want to know that. I want to know what is in your mind. Are you smoking them funny cigarettes? Because at the end of the day, it's one of them ones. I said, if you don't want to play for our club, take your ball and go home. 2 words, transfer request. Hand that in and you can tell your story walking. But you better hope for your sake, for the bridges you've burnt, you better apologise and work your backside off for the next season. Or you best hope that Arsenal come in with a bid of 50-something million that we're looking for to take you. Because otherwise, you ain't between a rock. You're between a rock and a hard place, and it will be of your own doing. I said, it's one of them ones. This dude's trying to make the club look like the club's in the wrong. Mate, any club will fight tooth and nail to keep their best players, and any club that wants to move on higher should do that. So Suarez, son, you're in the wrong, and you want to talk about your family suffering. You've brought a lot of this on yourself. After all the trouble you've had, why are you going to go bite Branislav Ivanovic like your daughter's not watching it? I'm sorry, man. I've lost patience with this guy. I've said this guy ain't playing with a full deck before, but hey, Liverpool fans, hit us up. Let us know your views. G-Man, seeing as this relates directly to Arsenal because of the 2 failed bids, what do you reckon about this?
Well, once again, I just want to reiterate the point. I'm one of the Arsenal fans that doesn't want to see Luis Suarez at Arsenal, regardless of how many goals he can potentially score. Surely for the fact that I think he's a disruptive influence on squads.
Yeah.
You know, Uruguay, we saw it during the World Cup 2010. We also know from Ajax, before he was even known that much of. For those that don't watch Dutch football, he was a disruptive influence there, actually bit someone. come to the Premiership, and he's been nothing but problems for Liverpool. To be honest, in actual fact, I personally think he has sort of tarnished your reputation.
No,
in every single way possible. Well, he could possibly try to, you know, from the race case to the biting of, then the secondary part of the race case when he didn't shake Evra's hand. So
we swerved the club on that one, but we still, stood by him.
To Kenny getting the sack. So multiple issues there. But you know what? You point out so many things, and I just want to touch on a couple myself. With the whole Suarez situation, I personally think Liverpool should be looking to get shot of Suarez. Yeah. Again, I want to repeat, that's not because I want to see him at Arsenal. I just think if it was our situation, I know, Arsene Wenger would have gotten rid of the player. We've seen it with Nasri, with the Adebayors. We've got rid of those sort of players. You know, we've also got rid of players that we've wanted to keep as well, but we've had to. And that's another point I just want to jump onto. You have to, because at the end of the day, if you've got an unhappy player at your squad, he's not going to be a good influence at all.
But it's only Arsenal who have shown interest. Real Madrid have not bidded at all.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. But at the same time, we don't want to sell to you because we're trying to overtake you.
And I completely understand that. It's like Arsenal with Robin van Persie last season. We didn't want to sell him. Sell him to Man United, but at the end of the day, if a player's gone out and said in a letter that, look, I had no intentions of signing a contract anyway, so like the club's got no ambition, in a way, Suarez, you know, hasn't said it in that same sort of way, but in his bipolar little snippets to the media, he's effectively saying the same sort of thing. Like one hand he's saying, look, I like the club, blah blah blah, but then he's saying, oh, well, this is a matter with the team, and this is a matter with the press, and they made me a promise, and you know what, you're right, come out and say that you just want to leave. Just say it. At the end of the day, if you say it, all right, it might not make your situation better with the club, but at the end of the day, everybody else who's out there knows where you stand, and exactly you're actually leaving Liverpool with not much of a leg to stand on in terms of, you know, why are they being so harsh of not selling someone that doesn't want to be at the club no more? Yeah.
Well, he's burning. The fact of the matter is, he's burning bridges. He's burning bridges on a daily basis, and he's becoming disruptive, and even more disruptive in our squad now.
Again, just to use another comparison, that's what Robin van Persie done. He put Arsene Wenger in a situation where it was, look, I want to leave. That was it. The letter just clarified it. No one could argue. You could only cuss him on Twitter or social networks. You could only vent your anger at him, you know, on Pitch Talk, you know. And at the end of the day, that's what you could do, because what can you say? He wants to leave.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, I've reserved judgment on this until very, very recently. You will have only seen me on Twitter and Facebook recently talking about this whole situation, because a lot of it has been media crap disturbing. There's been a lot of media crap disturbing in this. But at the same time, it's one of them ones. Suarez has not helped with his quotes. And Brendan Rodgers, you know what, to his everlasting credit, and to John W. Henry's everlasting credit, mate, we have never switched our stance. From January this year, from summer last year, we're like, mate, we don't want to sell our best players. And Suarez is one of them. We don't want to sell. We've never changed that. It's Suarez who's the one who's changing his mind seemingly day to day. I said, this guy's more confused than Scooby-Doo. And as you said, Gman, it's like these bipolar comments. It's like, I said that quote, it's not that I want to leave or I'm desperate to leave, but I want them to live up to their word. And by the way, on a side note, Edinson Cavani, who the hell are you? Who in the blue hell are you? You need to shut your face. Because if there was a verbal agreement, which actually makes no sense anyway, why is a club going to back themselves into a corner like that and put extra pressure on themselves by saying, oh, if we don't get Champions League football, we'll let you leave next season? Why is any club going to be stupid enough to do that? And also, if a player is going to do that, wouldn't it be smart to have his agent there? And if it's a verbal agreement, have the agent there as the witness to the verbal agreement, because a he said, she said thing is not going to hold up in court. Never hold up a court. Oh, he said this. Where's your proof? It was only me and him in the room. Well, if he denies it and you're saying it's true, then we have an impasse here. We don't have no agreement. So it'd be one of them ones. It just get chucked out. The fact of the matter is, mate, Edinson Cavani can go to hell. Who in the hell are you? It's one of them ones. This ain't your issue to get involved with. Shut up. Oh, he's my friend. I believe my friend. Yeah, you can believe your friend all you want. You can believe your friend all you want. Mate, your friend's been guilty of cheating quite a lot. Diving is cheating, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. It's one of them ones. So at the end of he is an SOB, Big T. But it's one of them ones. At the end of the day, Cavani needs to shut his face and leave this alone. Because this is not his issue to get involved with. Whether you're his friend or not, I don't care. It's just like Gus Poyet when he was getting involved in the Suarez Evra case. It's like, dude, like, why are you getting involved for? This has nothing to do with you. So I'm just seeing this whole thing and just thinking, you know what, mate, BS. I said, if you want to leave the club, submit a transfer request. It's very easy. You'll breach your contract. We'll end up taking you to court for it. Bugger it. It's one of them ones. We'll come to a settlement that way. But it's I said the whole thing is just stupid to me. And 1 minute it's just 1 minute you say, oh, I'm happy. Next minute, no, I'm not. How can the mood change in 9 days? Moron. But I said it's one of them ones. Clause or no clause. Edinson Cavani, I know, hasn't seen the contract, so he needs to shut his face. But at the end of the day, it's one of them ones. Suarez, you want to leave, take your ball and go home, and kiss the crack of my backside whilst you're at it. I'm straight shooting LJA, and that's my goddamn opinion. Does anyone else on the Skype chat want to jump in on this, by the way? Because I've seen quite a few interesting things from Samir Sawhney as well. Samir, being that you're a fellow brother in red, the liver bird upon your chest, because you know it is the best, would you like to jump in on this?
Yeah, sure, why not? How you doing?
I'm all good, man. How are you, man? How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. Day off today, but yeah, good week.
All good, man. All good. Do you want to jump in on this situation involving the buck-toothed one?
Yeah, why not? I just think he's done what I thought. Sounds horrible being a Liverpool fan, but we've got used to being stressed out in recent years. But I've done what I thought what was going to happened, much like what happened to him at Ajax when he wanted to go to Ajax a few years ago. He tried to push through a move, it failed, but Ajax, I think it was Groningen, his team, they just agreed to the transfer anyway because they knew it was too late. Yeah. And he has misbehaved at Ajax, he's misbehaved for Uruguay, we all remember the Ghana game. He's misbehaved more so at Liverpool. His biggest issue seems to be, I've heard a few times people saying, oh, he's a lost cause, or something else. No, what he is, he's an incredibly immature human being who can't learn from his mistakes. Therefore, my proxy theory being, if he wasn't as talented as he was, he would not be a professional footballer. And I'll argue that until the end of the world, and I'll take my coaching hat off. I always talk about having been 10 years in the industry. I'll talk specifically here as just a football fan. No football fan or owner or manager would want a player who wasn't as talented as he was, unless he was as talented as he was. He brings too much baggage to the table. He's made Liverpool look like complete idiots for the last 2 years, I'd say. And frankly, I don't care if the guy can score 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 goals a season. I genuinely, this is me, I'm not speaking for other Liverpool fans, this is me. You cannot have players like that at the club. You just can't have players like that at the club. Because, well, as far as I'm concerned, you could blame FSG, you could blame Dalglish for what he said. He got Dalglish the sack. Dalglish didn't know what to do with him, did what he thought was right. There were other factors around the whole issue with Evra. But effectively, Suarez, when after Dalglish had said that he was going to obviously come out, he was going to be fine. And if you remember, he made comments quite quickly after he'd been suspended or after the event had happened. So he made Dalglish look like an idiot. And as far as I'm concerned, if a manager wants to make himself look foolish, that's fine. This player made one of the legends of the game, forget about Liverpool, look like a complete 12-year-old in the media. And he completely wrecked that season. Last season, as far as I'm concerned, he missed, third of the season with his suspensions and antics. where could Liverpool have ended up? Okay, they may still have struggled to get into the Champions League, but they could have had a longer run in the trophies. They may have gone all the way to the Europa League. You don't know. You don't know. But the problem that he's done time and again is he's let his immaturity get the better of him. And this is where I have to be a bit brutal. Life is not about being immature. You're a man. Act like a man. Stop acting like a child. Stop making comments about it's everyone else. It's like throwing your toys out the pram. It's everyone else's fault. No, mate, it's your fault. You're the one who's brought this on yourself. Now you're the one. You've told lies in the media. Let's be honest, you've told lies. This whole contract thing, even the PFA have realised that there was an issue because they came out with this one statement and another quite soon after, from what I remember, saying, oh, well, you know, it might not be enforceable. I think Liverpool should work with him and whatever. You know,
but the PFA pick their spots when to kind of talk about this kind of stuff anyway. A lot of the time they're a day late and $1 short, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, it doesn't really matter who tries to help him because he's the one who's brought this on himself. And I've just had someone in the Skype chat ask if, I think it was Thomas saying I'm a Liverpool fan. Thomas, I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm a football fan first. And I don't care what club someone plays for. I said it when Rooney was doing garbage when he was at United and he's at it again. I've said it recently about Carlos Tevez, what he did at City. There can be external factors, but you're a man, for God's sake. Man up and actually take some credit for actually doing some good things in your life and stop blaming people constantly for the thing. I mean, did Bratislav Ivanovic or the media come up to him and ask him to be bit?
Yeah.
No. There wasn't someone there holding his head into his shoulder. He made that decision. Is that the media that forced him to do that? And I know the media have an issue with him. But then, it's like if someone knows you've got a button they can press. Yeah,
he doesn't help. As much as I call them the parasitic media, Suarez has never helped himself. It's like if you know someone's out to get you, you avoid them.
What I tell the kids, what I tell my family, what I tell the kids that I coach every day, you're going to get people on a football pitch who will stamp on you, they will spit at you, they will try and punch you when you're at a corner, they'll pull your shirt. Your job is not to react. Your job is put the ball through their legs, put the ball in the back of the net, keep the ball out of your goal. Let them do that garbage, let them play dirty. You play for the love of the game and you play why you started. He's forgotten why he started. That's where I can end it. He has forgotten the reason why he started in this game. Because I'll tell you now, if he was looking at the child version of himself and that child said to Luis Suarez, you know, the child within us, why are you doing this? He wouldn't be able to even speak to himself. Because we know that. You said it about his kid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one rule for him and one rule for everyone else. So as far as I'm concerned, he can rot in the reserves. He won't. He'll get sold. He'll get sold probably, I hope, on deadline day. It won't be for the fee that Liverpool want, but it'll be a route out. Liverpool, I'm pretty sure, planned without him. My only point about Liverpool is I think when Brendan Rodgers came out and said that we haven't got time to replace him, that was a strategic move to other clubs to say, if you want him, you buy him. Just think logically.
And you buy him sharply.
So they must have planned without him anyway. That's where I see it. He needs to go, and he needs to go. If he doesn't apologise, he needs to go with his tail behind his leg, and he needs to realise that Liverpool Football Club and football clubs aren't going to put up with this crap anymore because it's wrong. And it's, you know what? Forget about the club. It's making the fans be treated like garbage, and that's just beyond unacceptable. You know, they put up with so much, the Liverpool fans, as a lot of fans put up with. And just one very final point I've gone over. I said that this is about respect. Clubs can ditch players whenever they want. We know that. Clubs do it all the time. You see it at clubs. You know, 1 minute they're the hero, the next minute they're dropped and sitting in the reserve. We've seen it. Players can do the same as well. When they want to transfer or they want some more money, they can put in a transfer request. They'll be happy to sit. We've seen it many times. Players rot in the reserves, but they're still earning their 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 grand, right?
Yeah.
One thing that needs to work, and that's respect. Both ways. You don't have to like your boss, you don't have to like your player. There are plenty of owners and managers who hate players in their team, but they do a job, they shake hands and they get on with it. There's no respect in the situation, and that's bringing the game into disrepute. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the thing that a lot of people don't realise is that if Suarez is doing this with us, he's going to do this wherever he goes. And that mentality is not going to be changed. As I've said before, as I said after the bite on Branislav Ivanovic, it's like, I feel for his wife, but I feel for his daughter even more. Because how his daughter's like 2 years old or something like that. Could you imagine her going to her dad, why are you biting people for? How's he gonna answer that? How are you going to be able to rationalize that? He didn't do it, but Daddy, he didn't do anything to you on the TV. We could all see it. It's one of them ones. But G-Man, you wanted to jump in on this?
Yeah, I just want to ask you and Samir and any other Liverpool fans out there a question, yeah, in regards to like the whole Suarez situation and how it's being played out. Because being an Arsenal fan, we've been through this a fair few times over the last eight seasons or so, yeah. And you know, you just get to the point where you can't keep these players. Now, in terms of Suarez, like, what do you say about clubs when they know a player wants to leave, so they do that initial contract thing where it always seems to play out like this? A player wants to leave, he brings his views to the club that he wants to leave, blah blah blah. The club say, oh no, stay another season, or stay another 2 seasons, see if we can get to this position or that position, and sign a new contract, make it all look rosy in the press to the fans. And I presume they're telling these players, look, we're trying to look for your replacement and all that type of madness. Maybe they might not be, but I'm presuming that's what they're doing. And also then putting those little stipulations in the contracts. Like, what's your views on doing that sort of thing to a player? My view is, if a player wants to leave and he wants to leave, you might as well just get rid of him. I know you've got to make time to bring in a decent replacement, but what's the point of holding that player back? Yeah, but because he's going to cause you all types of problems. Yeah,
but the thing is, you've also got to bear in mind the fact that this bugger needs to be taught a lesson. At the end of the day, man needs to be taught a lesson that you can't be going around mugging off clubs like this. And a club with as big a stature as ours, mate, we've given you chances, 3 strikes and you're out, and your 3 strikes were out a long time ago. Is that kind of thing for me? I mean, it's one of them ones. You can't allow this person to, after we've backed him to the hilt, to just slap us in the face and say, bugger off, I'm going somewhere else now, just because it's the whim. But the fact of the matter is, James Lee, he's asked an interesting question. He said something interesting in the Skype chat, and at the end of the day, he's saying, oh yeah, no one can. It's like, what's it? Nobody in our team gets as many goals as Suarez, and I don't think they can replace Suarez. Let me tell you this much: in football, anyone is replaceable. It's one of them ones. Some people didn't think that Gianfranco Zola could be replaced at Chelsea, but look how well Chelsea have done recently. It's one of them ones. Some people thought Eric Cantona couldn't be replaced. Look how well United have done since Cantona moved on. Beckham, Owen, Torres, Fowler. We've replaced these players before. Gerrard and Carragher will be difficult to replace because not only did they bring everything on the pitch, but they brought the intangibles with them as well. Suarez now, in the same way as Torres, dude can be replaced. Dude can be replaced. Pure and simple. It's one of them ones. So at the end of the day, this whole no player can be replaced, Suarez can't be replaced, what it does is it makes the other players in the team step up their game, because we can't rely on one person to be getting all the goals anymore. So it forces everyone else to up their game. So that's what people have got to bear in mind. Suarez is not the be all and end all of Liverpool. I'm sorry, but selling Suarez is not going to be the end of Liverpool. Mate, we've had bigger players move on than him. Owen, Fowler, is one of them ones. Barnes, Rush, Dalglish. We've had bigger players than Suarez move on. And at the end of the day, if Suarez does move tomorrow, he'll be looked upon just like Torres. You burnt your bridges in your final days, and at the end of the day, you'll be looked upon as, in history, you'll be looked upon as nothing but another flash in the pan player who did brilliantly for us while he was there, but you were there for all too short a time. Whereas Carragher, Gerrard, whenever their names are mentioned in a sentence, they will be revered and held in the highest regard. Whenever Robbie Fowler's name is mentioned, the word God is mentioned alongside it. You want to know why? Because he was a local lad, grew up in the team, was loyal to the team, did brilliantly for us, and never did this whole, I want to go, and all this. It's one of them ones. Suarez may want to buck up his ideas, but Big T, you wanted to jump in on this as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say briefly. I mean, like, you know, the ban he's got, which was from last year. I mean, if you really wanted him to stop doing what he was doing, wouldn't you like try and get some way around FIFA regulations? Because, you know, he's talking to other clubs and he's basically making a fool of not only himself and his family and friends, but of the club as well. And it's not good for Liverpool because, with all due respect, they're a decent club with pedigree, and Suarez is bringing them down, and it's not on. I mean, I'm sure you've all read in the papers recently where Suarez was going to sign autographs for people. Mate, you are trying to redeem yourself, but that's not enough. Why can't you just go out and apologise to Brendan Rodgers? I mean, I feel for the guy because Brendan Rodgers is a decent manager and he's not getting the respect that he deserves because Suarez is acting like a petulant child trying to get his way. And when he doesn't get his way, he throws his toys out the pram and decides, you know what, bugger this, I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to be quiet and hope I get the move I want. Yeah. You're not going to get it because at the end of the day, the Liverpool board, I mean, the owner, I forgot his name for the life of me.
John W. Henry.
Yeah, I forgot the name for the life of me, but he basically said that there is no disrespect, but he's not going to sell them to Arsenal. Now, if he says he's not going to sell them to Arsenal, how in the blue hell is he going to go to another club like Real Madrid? Luis Suarez does not deserve, and this is no disrespect to you, Liam and Samir and any other Liverpool fan, he doesn't deserve to play for a club like Liverpool, even Real Madrid, because those two are big European domestic teams, and Luis Suarez is making a joke out of both of them. And I feel sorry for Brendan Rodgers and Carlo Ancelotti and everybody else who's been involved in this, because they're focusing on his ability, but they're not focusing on his behaviour. If you did that, Luis Suarez would not be a footballer. He'd be in jail. He gets special treatment, which, quite frankly, personally, I think it's disgusting. Because Suarez, after what he did last year to Ivanovic, he shouldn't even be on the pitch. He should be in jail. He should be doing community service. And he's doing it in front of a live television audience, in front of children. That's what makes me want to pull my hair out. It's like, why are you doing this? You've got children yourself and you're making an idiot. And if I was Liverpool, I'd stand my ground, because you've got to think of it like this, and I'll end it on this. Suarez is a petulant child. Brendan Rodgers is the dad who has to put his foot down and tell Suarez that, you know what, you're not going to get your own way, you're sticking to the rules, and you're going to grow up and you're going to stick to the guidelines, because as you said, Liam, and Samir quite rightly said earlier, nobody's bigger than the club. I don't care which club it is, you're not bigger than the club. And quite frankly, Suarez, he needs to pull his finger out and understand that he's letting everybody down. Maybe if he just takes one look and thinks to himself, I'm not going to get this move, I've got to try and redeem myself and apologise, but I don't think he's man enough to do that. But we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? So
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've also got Jamie Bailey who wanted to jump in on this point as well.
Yeah, to be honest with you guys, I just think it's all about how money is perceived in football now. As much as everybody's saying Suarez, everybody needs to still remember that Gareth Bale is being sold for a world record fee. Wayne Rooney now is unhappy now that Alex Ferguson has gone, and now David Moyes is in charge. If you think about it, he's the same. David Moyes was in charge at Everton, and he wanted to go then. He now wants to go now that he's at Manchester United. Those are the interesting factors that people need to look at, and it's all about the loyalty to, not just to the club anymore, but also to the players. It's like, I don't have any loyalty towards QPR because I don't support them, but I know that I work for them, so I need to show some sort of loyalty. And any sort of pictures where I'm wearing a Arsenal shirt or any other club shirt on any networking site that they're on will pretty much mean that I've got no job left. Same thing with Suarez. He's just basically been told that I'm not supporting you throughout anything that you've done now by people like John W. Henry and Brendan Rodgers, because Liverpool's been backing him from the day he moved, and that's what Liverpool all are. They're a loyalty club. Arsenal are now, for me, they were loyal. They're not anymore. We haven't won a trophy. and there's too many supporters that are either on one side of the fence or the other. I started jumping onto the other side of the fence because I've not seen anything change from Arsene Wenger. We keep hearing the same thing over and over again, and this is what it's all about now. There's no loyalty in football, and that's because of money. So as much as we're talking about Suarez, everybody needs to look at the way that most of the transfers are going on. It's all about how much money a player can make, rather than how much money a club's going to make off of that one sale. And it's just stupid. Me being at QPR, I know how many players have walked into QPR in the last 2 seasons, but
Jamie. We've actually just lost Jamie on the feed, but I can see there are a couple of good points in there. You don't want to be hearing the same things over and over and over again. And
I think he makes a very strong point about loyalty and money, though, and he actually just made me think that it's true.
Well, there ain't no loyalty in football anymore apart from to money. That's for me. That's the jack. It's a case of I still need to finish my blog off about that. It's one of them ones. I'm not expecting loyalty from footballers. It's one of them ones. It's an unscrupulous age, and boy, most of the time it's usually the other way around, where the club's not loyal to the player. But most of the time, I think it's the other way. I think it's one of them ones where players just ain't loyal anymore. There's not that. It's like when we were watching Premier League years 96, 97 in that pub, and we were reminiscing about the old days when players used to stay at clubs for years upon years upon years.
One thing I would have to say, I think you have to be fair to the smaller clubs, because I think it's predominantly a big club thing, like where the money's at.
Of course it is. Because if there's stupid amounts of money going around, then players are going to be stupid.
But also the clubs themselves, though, like when you've got that sort of money and you're not really investing back into football, you're just rooting it back into your club, and you're just rooting it on the transfer key. What they saying? Nearly £1 billion spent in this transfer window, almost, could be. Isn't it something stupid like that? Something stupid like that. What the hell is that?
It's one of them ones, man. But I mean, Jamie Bailey, let's throw it back to you because you wanted to finish your point before you cut out.
Yeah, sorry. We're just saying that I was at me being at QPR, I've seen players come and go. And we finally found, and the one thing that I've noticed with the community side of things is that we've not got enough money being invested by the clubs. And it's the same thing with most clubs who have a community scheme. Most of the money is basically going from into the clubs to make all the payments for any transfers and new kit deals. Apart from that, none of the clubs are. Basically, most of the clubs have now become a charity where they have to fund for their own money. So as much as we're wearing the badge, all we're just saying is we'll help you as far as we can, but we can't take you to the home team training ground, or we can't do this and we can't do that because we don't know them. And it's becoming pathetic because a lot of those teams now are saying that we'll pay we'll make sure that 85 million is in our account to make that signing. But when it comes to any player at home, we'll just hope that he's got enough money just to go to a game and sit in the stands if he's all right, if he wants to do that. We're not going to help him out. We just think he's just going to be another fan. So it's never that easy. And all the changes that QPR have made in the last 2 weeks, some clubs have already made in the last 10 years, but they've not progressed because the club itself hasn't been helping. So they're kind of stuck. And and for me, as a coach of football, to want to be at the top, I've said this before and I'll say it again. As much as we've got this new St. George's Park and all of that, players like Suarez, they're gonna be coming to us for the next 10 years, because eventually we're just gonna realize that we don't need them. And the ones that we really do need is right around the corner from the training grounds, or literally just across the road.
Yeah, but see, that's where Gordon Taylor's comments are very much interesting in terms of football losing his soul. It's a case of that him talking about instant success, instant this, instant that. That's how it is. And at the end of the day, I can understand Liverpool putting their foot down in terms of the Suarez thing, because it's a case of, we've invested this much into you. Maybe we want to get returns on our investment. And a lot of the time, that's how players are looked upon.